Katie Parker joining us again, day 3 of the trial in Gregg County. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, can you give us an update on what we saw yesterday to what we're seeing today? Because I know a lot of experts gave their testimony yesterday just about the nature of the death, the path of the gunshot wound, that whole thing. What are we seeing today?
Yeah, Hannah. So yesterday we talked a lot about the forensics and the medical aspect of what went down on April 29th in 2020. We looked at the path of the bullet as it traveled through the victim Joshua Huffman's brain, and we just kind of really focused on what that trajectory might have looked like, what the scene looked like after the crime, what was left behind, where the gun was found, all of that thing, all of those sort of things. We found where brain matter was found in the car at the scene of the crime. Really just kind of went over all of those details. But today we are going more of the digital angle. So this morning we spent a lot of time talking to Sergeant Josh Hall. There he is right there. He went through the text and the digital footprint between the victim and the defendant leading up to the murder. So you'll see these texts that are coming through. They were pretty threatening. They were most from Angelita Ruiz. She was consistently blowing his phone up and texting him constantly. Every now and then he would respond. There were a lot of phone calls that were incoming towards his phone, unanswered by him. And then in this video right here, what you're seeing is she is actually burning all of his personal documents. She burnt his birth certificate, his social security card, a picture of his mother, which was allegedly the only one he had left, and things of that nature. She got rid of all of his personal documents, W-2 forms, things like that, and sent him videos, which were played out in court today and shown to everybody. So that's kind of what we focused on for the majority of this morning here. And then as you can see, her defense there checked in with the text that the victim, Joshua Huffman, had also sent to his possibly second girlfriend. There was some type of overlap there between the two women that were being introduced in these text threads. There was a woman named Stacy who was constantly mentioned by Angelita in her text to Josh Huffman. And then there were texts between Stacy and Josh Huffman for a couple months and days prior to what all went down on the 29th, where she claimed he had been threatening her in the past. There was no evidence of threatening behavior on his part in those text threads. There could have been things that happened in person, but we were only going by the text threads today. And it seemed that there was no direct proof of threatening behavior on Mr. Huffman's part from what was revealed in court through the text messages and the Facebook messages this morning.
So yesterday, focusing on more the scientific, the forensic. Today, you're looking at the emotional elements that went along with this relationship. Interesting. Have we
Correct.
heard from any of the family members yet?
Not yet. There appears to be a group in support of Angelita in the courtroom, but we haven't heard from them. We haven't seen them say anything yet. Another thing I do want to note is that we did get some more digital evidence from the night of the murder. Less than an hour, really, before the murder took place, there was footage between Angelita and Joshua Huffman's being sent back and forth over texts where she was beating his car with a bat, inflicting some type of violence towards the vehicle. And that was another thing that we saw. So I do want to note that there was also, in terms of those documents that were being burned, they were also being put in the toilet with other toilet items and flushed. And so that was another thing that we saw today. Really just a lot of personal belongings being destroyed in the events that led up to this eventual murder.
Gotcha. And what is she pleading not guilty? What's her side of the angle here?
That was the plea that was entered, was not guilty. I know yesterday we talked about seeing what the state was seeking, what penalties they were looking for. I checked on that this morning. They said it has not yet been announced. So we will wait on that to see exactly what they plan to push for.